It's hard to have these hopes and dreams, especially when I got.
Hey, what's going on, peeps? I hope you enjoyed that video montage, or build montage, I should say. And I wanted to give you all a brief walkthrough of basically what I'd done differently with this build versus the first version. If you haven't seen the first version of this build, go ahead and click that link in the top right hand corner. You should see it right about now, and check that out. And the build has been through a lot since then. I mean, it's basically a complete overhaul. The way that the water flows, the piping, everything. And so let's go ahead and get right into it. So first of all, as you see, the first thing that probably sticks out to my audience who's been here before checking out my videos on the channel is that I don't have a 240 radiator in the front anymore. And the reason for that is efficiency and the pressure, the positive pressure that I need for this computer to keep the dust out. So when I had the 240 radiator, basically I had all of my fans in the front and all of my fans in the top exhausting air out. And I had a 140 millimeter fan here bringing air in. And what that was doing was creating some sort of vacuum because the air coming in was not equaling the air going out. And so that creates what's called negative pressure. And when you have negative pressure in a case, it attracts all the dust and grime, and it literally caked everything, y'all. And so I said, this has to change. So I talked with my buddies at John Q Gaming. If you haven't checked out that channel, check that in the link below. And so we discussed the game plan or design plan. And one of my buddies was saying that, why don't I just take out the 240 radiator and then put that in the back here, or put a smaller radiator in the back, maybe a 140. And so I went ahead and bought a 140 radiator. That didn't fit, unfortunately, and I bought an EK radiator. I think another brand might fit, but I'm not sure. I haven't tried any. I just like the way the EK radiators looked, so I went ahead and bought another EK 240 radiator, put that up top. And when I put the 120 radiator here, it fit perfectly. I mean, it literally, if y'all can see this, it's like laying on the card. Let me go ahead and focus that for y'all. Like, it's literally laying on the graphics card. So perfect fit, very snug. Once I had that, I went ahead and bought this Corsair Light Loop fan. Does a decent job. I could get a better radiator fan. I just did it purely for aesthetics, y'all, and it looks amazing. So, and my temperatures are actually really good on this build. So my CPU is a 7700K and it's clocked at 5 gigahertz. I updated from the 6700K just because it died. I know, tier, I miss it so. I was getting like 5.05 gigahertz on a 6700K at like what, 1.5 volts. It was insane. And as you can guess, at 1.5 volts, you run it long enough, it will die. You will kill your CPU. So, you know, RIP, you know, for my old 6700K, but you know, life goes on. And now we're with the 7700K. And the temperatures I get with it delidded, with a copper IHS with more surface area, probably roughly around mid 70s when gaming, or mid to low 70s when gaming, which isn't bad. So I'll take it. And then of course we have the 1080 Ti, as y'all can see. This is a monster. It's a For the Win 3 1080 Ti, which I did an unboxing on, and y'all can check that out up here if you haven't checked it out. And the overclock that I'm getting from this is insane. Like, I'm getting like 2152 megahertz. Like, what? That's crazy. I think even one time I got 2163 in Doom. Doom will push the mess out of your graphics card. Amazing game, best optimized game I've ever played. And so with that, I'll actually be doing a benchmark, which should be coming out soon after this video, so stay tuned for that. But the piece that, how the French people say it? Piece de resistance. Any of my French audience out there, they can, you know, correct me. The piece de resistance of the build is the Aquero 6XT. Like, check out this bad boy. This is the best fan controller I have ever owned. I haven't owned many fan controllers, but if I did, I would buy this again. Like, it is amazing for water cooling. And I know Singularity Computers uses this controller in like almost all of his builds for water cooling. The precision of the control of each fan is incredible. I mean, you set the parameters for each fan you have. As you can see, my top fans, the Silverstone Slim PWM fans, are running at 700 RPM right now at 10%. And then my front two fans, you see my pump, it has my speed for the pump. So my pump is hooked up to this. My two top radiator fans are hooked up to this. And also my two intake fans are hooked up to this. And they're all pretty much on the same curve as my GPU, or the same temperature curve for my GPU. Actually, no, not even for my GPU, I apologize, y'all. For my fluid temp. So I have a temperature sensor back here on this outlet, and it's hooked up there in the back. It's like at the very, I wonder if y'all can see it. It's like the valve cover for that valve there is a temperature sensor, and I have it hooked up there in the fan curve for all my radiator fans, or at least the top two, and the front two fans are controlled by that temperature sensor and the Aquero 6XT. And you can make graphs with this, tracking, you know, your GPU temperature. It'll show a graph showing the temperature change over time, even for your CPU or any other component. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. 10 out of 10 on this Aquero 6XT. But yeah, that was a brief overview of the build. And actually, before I go, I want to give you all a brief view of like how the water's flowing, because I know that's a big question. So the water is starting from the pump reservoir. It's going down from there to the graphics card, to the 1080 Ti, up into the 120 radiator, where the heat is getting pulled out from the GPU, and then into the CPU, and from the CPU all the way through this pipe up into the 240 radiator. It goes through that radiator, the air is pulled out, and then it comes down back to the pump reservoir and then to the GPU again. And so that's the flow of the build. I hope you peeps enjoyed this brief overview and the montage. Again, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. Hit that notification bell once you do, so you can be notified of all my content. And stay tuned for the benchmark video of this bad boy. It should be pretty dope. But thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you peeps on the next episode. Peace.
I'm in love with the cold, cold.